Hi, everybody. Welcome to our sixth episode of If This Canvas Could Talk. And I'm excited. And let me see. People are coming on. I'm going to search for Terry. Get her on. Hi. Hi, friend.
Hey, how are you?
You look cute. I like your hair up.
Thank you. Thank you. It's called I don't want to do my hair day, so thank you.
Oh my gosh, it's cute. Okay, hold on. I'm going to get Miss Allie on next. So I'm just
Okay.
welcome everybody to episode 6 of If This Canvas Could Talk. I'm getting better at inviting people on.
You
Yay.
are. Look at that. Hi,
Oh, we did it!
Allie.
Oh my
Nice
gosh.
to see you guys.
Hi,
Hi.
Allie. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here and to see you. I feel like I'm, meeting you in person.
I know.
Agree. I know. It's so fun.
I know we've just messaged each other. We've never actually gotten to talk on the a Zoom call or anything.
No, I think
Yeah.
we took the Jody King course together, correct?
Yes,
Yeah. So I think
exactly.
I saw you a few times on Zoom, but that's about it. Like
Yeah.
we didn't really talk to each other. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm so excited to have you with us today, Allie, and
Thank you.
we'll get into the conversation. But you have such an interesting story. I want everybody to hear a little bit of who you are, what you do, and your background.
Oh, thank you. So my name is Allie, and I go by Allie for the Soul on Instagram. And I have always like dabbled in art. So I started painting children's murals when I was a teenager. And
Did I get your age right? A 16-year-old?
yeah, you're right.
That
I was
was
actually
awesome.
punished, and it was back in the days where there was no internet or cell phones. You remember those days?
Yeah.
You know,
Yes,
when I was
yes, we
punished,
do.
you had nothing to do, like what did you do, right? So I just jumped on top of my dresser and I started painting on my wall. And I remember my parents walked in and they were like, what are you doing, but they didn't care, so I was like, it's paint. If I don't like it, I'll paint over it. And my brother is my brother is like 6.5 years older than me. So at the time he had some friends that had just gotten married and had a baby. And they were like, oh, could your sister paint, the nursery? So from there it grew. And then I just got word of mouth jobs, like while I was going to school or while I was working. It was always a side hustle. And then I started selling on eBay, like when that came into play. But it was always, this is back in the day before social media and, so you're just trying to do whatever. But it was a side hustle. It wasn't a business.
Okay.
And then I started, like I did all different types of things, like interior design jobs, and I designed kitchens and bathrooms. So like I was always like in the art world, right? Like doing something and doing other things on the side, trying to sell my work. And then I finally, I quit my job in like 2007 and I was selling on Etsy.
Okay.
So that's when Etsy was, first,
Mhm.
getting a little popular. Nobody knew it. Everybody would say Betsy, like, what is that, right? But and then I was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was 35 in 2009. So that threw me off course a little bit.
Right.
And then after that, I was like, oh, like I want to do something, to like really to make money, right? Make more money. I want to travel. Like, you kind of feel like, and I know you're a survivor as well. So you kind of feel like, and especially in the beginning, I felt like, ooh, do I have an expiration date, or, I wanted to do all the things, right?
Right.
Mhm.
So my husband and I, we started a rustic wood burning shop on Etsy. and I was wood burning, mostly for weddings, like wedding design. So I would do, like a wedding dress and engrave it in wood, or the bridesmaid dresses. And that
cool.
really took off for years. Like it was really well. We were able to travel and do things. But then it started to decline. And then I got diagnosed again with recurrence.
Oh.
So yeah, but not good. I'm here. Everything's good.
Yeah.
But that took me off course again. And then, but when I had recurrence, I had visited an animal sanctuary because, like when, I was online and I fell in love with this cow that was in Tennessee, and I know it sounds so silly, right? And then I remember even when I went to my doctor, they were like, well, are you doing anything good for the weekend? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to meet a cow that I saw on Facebook. They were like, what? And then that's what happened. I fell in love with like the animals. Like it was a hard time that I was going through.
Right.
And you see these animals, and this cow in particular had an amputated foot, and he had a prosthetic foot, which was like new in 2016, 2017. That was a new thing. Today, more animal sanctuaries are doing that.
Wow.
And I saw his resilience, and I was like, wow, like it taught me so much, like, so I saw the resilience in the rescued animals, how they, still enjoy life, right? Get through each day and live in the moment. And it really motivated me. And I said, you know what? I want to go back to my artwork and painting, and I want to help animals. And that's what I mainly do. I mainly paint animals, and I just try and show like the everyday joy moments, or, like just how happy, anyone could be, right? Like, and if I could bring a smile to somebody's face by showing them that art, it makes me happy. And in the same time, I try to raise money to help the animal sanctuaries.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you about that too, Allie, because what I'm going to do is give a percentage of my profits at the end to marine conservation and animal rescue. So I look at you and admire how you are raising money, and I love how you're doing that. And I didn't know if that was is that all you're doing, or are you doing it for yourself as well?
Well,
your artwork.
Yeah, well, I have to eat and keep a roof
Yeah.
over my head.
Okay, good.
It's a
No.
hard balance, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, but
Okay.
it is a hard balance. But I made amazing friends along this journey in the animal community, like in the animal sanctuary community. And I made just amazing friends, and they are so supportive, and they love, like they love to have the work too.
Right.
So I've been able to sell originals and prints, and still be able to donate, at least 10%, but sometimes 20% or whatever, 50%. I try and do different things to, sometimes I just make a painting and then fundraise, like as a raffle.
Yes. Yes.
And then other times, people will commission me because they want to join in too, like teamwork, and they'll commission me to paint a certain animal, and then we'll raffle it off and raise money.
Okay, I love that. Okay, I wasn't
win-win.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how that worked. So you are
so
definitely amazing doing that, and it's my my go-to for figuring all that out. So I love it. I love it.
Oh,
and your paintings are so stinking cute. I mean,
thank you.
I just every time I see them, I just smile. So your goal is, your intention is working. I mean, it's just,
oh my God.
You cannot look at your animals and not feel happy.
Terry, thank you.
Totally.
Thank you. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. And it's like, it's fun because I love to use color, obviously, so I use a lot of different color, and people like, I never would think I'd see like a blue pig or,
But that's my favorite part, is that adds the whimsy to them, and and it also makes you think about color in, I don't know how to say what I want to say, but I totally get that part of your paintings, and I absolutely love it. It's fabulous.
I do, and I think maybe what you're trying to say, Terry, is the color brings out the personality even more in the
Yes.
little animals.
Yes,
That's
absolutely. Thanks, Jeanette, for being in my brain. And, you know, like, you
you
just
guys
know
are
me.
always in sync.
Yes, yes. So good to have someone in your corner that knows how you think when you can't talk.
Yes.
I know. Well,
That's
we're,
great.
we're doing better. We're doing better. And I wanted to say this is only our 6th episode, and one
I
of the
love it.
things that Terry and I wanted to hear about, and I'm sure other artists want to hear about, is how you've done a couple of live paint demos. And so I wanted you to talk to us about that today, because it's something that we're thinking about doing but haven't done yet, maybe, and would love to hear your advice. Like, for my question, you can talk to us about that, but my one question is, like, do you have one camera that looks at you and then another camera that looks over at the work? So tell us how you set it up and what you do.
It's very, very old school, non-tech.
Okay, good.
At all. I just have a stand, you know, a tripod to hold my phone.
Okay.
And I have the phone facing the painting.
Yeah.
And I'm behind the phone. So I'm kind of painting over it, you know, or around it. Like
Right.
that. And basically that's it. When I film, I'll film from further away and try different angles, but you know, like for a reel or something like that. But when I go live, the only way that I found it where I could see comments at the same time is to actually just put it in front of my painting, and you know, like in between me and the painting. And
Is it overhead or straight?
Straight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're kind of looking at you from the side and watching you paint as
I
you're.
do that sometimes too. I used to do that in the beginning, but then I would have to go like to read the comments, you know, like
Right.
I have to like hook myself like over to read the comments all the time. And so I found more recently that if I put it in between me and the painting, it kind of works well, because then I can just glance down and read some comments and then, you know, go back.
Okay, good to know.
It's challenging. It's a little challenging, but I do follow, like, one of my mentors is Kim Meyer-Smith on Instagram, and she goes live every Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. and which is early for you guys because you're on the West Coast,
Yeah,
because it's East Coast. But I've been watching her for years. Like, she goes live every morning for years at 8 a.m. and it's very, very consistent. And I just love her work, and she teaches so much, and that's what she does. She puts the camera in between her and the painting.
okay.
So
Yeah.
I picked it up from that.
Okay.
Okay.
I've watched her before too, and I love her, and she uses her oil paints and oil sticks, and
Yeah.
it does remind me a little bit of your techniques too. So,
well, I learned a lot from her. I took a few of her workshops. I took one in person, and I took her online course, which is out now. Actually, she just released it, and she's fabulous. Like, I love her techniques and her style, and I just love, like, I've learned so much to, you know, start with transparent colors and how to keep the vibrancy, you know, all things that I wouldn't have learned. And that's what I wanted to say when we were talking about live painting.
yeah.
That as scary as it is for us to do it, right, and to put yourself out there and go live, I cannot thank her enough, because she does it every week, and I've been watching her all this time, because I've learned so much. Like, I think, like, if she hadn't done that, I wouldn't have followed her. I wouldn't have taken her courses. I wouldn't have learned so much. I mean, you don't even have to take her course, just to watch her every week. I would have learned so much. So if you could help one person, you know, learn something, a technique or tip, right, that they connect with, you're helping, you know, you're helping more art into the world, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I love that, and I want to do that too, because I want to offer that back out. So I and I have watched her a couple times, but I didn't know she did it consistently every Wednesday. So
every Wednesday. I think maybe she takes off like 2 times a year. Like, that's it. Like, every single Wednesday at 8 a.m. And what she does, she's so conditioned. She's so quick too. So she'll finish a whole painting in an hour. You know, they're smaller paintings. She does smaller sizes, but
Yeah.
still she finishes in 1 hour, and it's amazing because you watch it from start to finish, you know, and so she's always like my goal, right? I love that she could connect people like that, and it drew me in. I mean, like everyone has somebody that they are drawn to, right?
Yeah.
Their technique, and she's like my person who I'm drawn to, and I learned so much from her. But I'm always so appreciative that she did it. Like I'm so thankful, you know, that she put herself out there, and she talks about her fears and her insecurities all the time, and that teaches me so much too. And she always says also that I feel like she's, you know, here, right? And then she'll say, I feel like I'm only at 10% of my art journey, you know, like she has so much more to learn, and I love that, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh my gosh.
I was wondering how you feel, because one of the reasons that's stopping me from doing a live paint demo is because I don't know how something's going to turn out. Like if I start something and I don't know.
But I think that makes the beauty of it even more, right? Like I'm always so nervous too when I start. I'm like, oh my gosh, like what if this, like I make total mistakes?
Yeah.
But I think people are more like, and from what I learned from her too, like some days, like she, you know, some mornings she might be a little off, right? Every now and then. And she'll say like, you guys will forgive me if it doesn't come out great, or if I make a mistake. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I think people want to see it. It's more human, right? It's more
Absolutely.
It's
because one of the things that I hear from a lot of people that follow me are that are not artists but want to try is that they are intimidated to even try because they won't be perfect. And so I think it gives them permission to be like, well, I'm not perfect either, and to remind ourselves and them that the happiness and the joy comes from the process of creating the art, not just always in the final outcome, right? And so that it's giving ourselves and them permission to just play and to have fun and to enjoy the process instead of being so worried about how it's going to come out in the end, because we all know that we have way more piles of paintings that didn't turn out the way we wanted than we do the superstars that we show on Instagram, right? So I think that's good to know that we do, you know, again, we're putting this pressure, Jeanette, on ourselves to be so perfect. And I think that people are drawn to our imperfections. I will tell you, I'm tracking my Instagram posts, right? And growing my community. And I noticed that all of the posts that I do or reels or whatever that show my vulnerability, those are the ones that go crazy and have the most, you know, interaction. And the ones where I feel like they're the perfect post, nobody even pays attention to it. They're like, yeah, I am like perfect because I'm not perfect, right? Scroll. So that's really great to know, Allie. Thank you for sharing that.
Anne Marie or
Grimble.
Yeah. Allie, she must know you. She said she wants to see the authentic person behind the artist and the art. So
perfect is highly overrated. Yes, it is, because it's an unattainable goal from the get-go.
I have got to let it go. I know Terry's more better at it than I am, but boy, I have to let it go.
Only by a smidge, girl. Only by a smidge. I think I just fake it better than you. That's all. Just faking it. Totally. So, Allie, I have a question for you. So I saw that I was on your website, and so the last paint that you did, or your Zoom paint, are you doing them on Zoom, or how is it a Zoom painting?
Yeah, okay. I did a little workshop on Zoom.
Yes. And so you actually sent them almost like a paint by number outline, right?
Yeah.
And so how did you go about, did you make that yourself? Did you go through a company to do that? And so talk us through how you did it and how that worked for the artists or people that were taking it with you and going through it with you.
No. Okay. So I will tell you my process and then what not to do.
Okay.
Talk about imperfections. So I had this, you know, this great idea. Let's do a paint by numbers, which I'm going to do again too. But I'm, you know, like you have to try things to figure things out, right?
Right.
And so I jumped in and I found a website where you could change your painting to a paint by numbers, you know, and which is great. And it's called pnbify.com, like print by numbers.
Oh,
Paint by numbers, I'm sorry, pnbify.com. And you upload your picture of your painting, and then you click on the different colors, and it'll create a palette for you of those colors with numbers. And then you could print it out. You could print out the outline, and you could print out the color picture that it makes, because of course it's going to change your painting, right?
Right.
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 And I was like, oh, this is great. Okay, how can I transfer this now onto a canvas so that I could send people the paint by number kit? And I was looking at, you know, a few DIY things, you know, videos, of course, like, so you're researching, right, everything. And then I found this person who said, oh, you could print it out on paper and then almost decoupage it onto the canvas. And I was like, oh, okay, that'll work. It doesn't work.
Okay.
Yeah. So this happened, and I figured out that it doesn't work after I had registration open. So I was like, okay, what do I do now, right? And so I had to end up getting, like, you know, the carbon transfer, you know, sheets.
Oh,
and
yeah.
actually outlining each one onto the canvas, which is a lot of work.
I was going to say, that sounds very time consuming, and yeah.
So, but it was a therapeutic process, I guess, you know, like it was something that you could do, like, while you're sitting on the couch watching TV, you know, like, you're just, you know, tracing each one. And I did a couple each night. And then I had gotten the paint pots, which I actually have here. I'll show you.
Look at that elephant back there. Scooch over again for a second. Look at your elephant.
He is so cute.
And it's so cute because then the ears look like a monarch butterfly. I just love it. I just love it.
Oh, thank you. It's actually my biggest painting that I've done, so I'm really excited over it. I really
What
am.
size is it?
It's 36 by 48.
Oh,
yeah.
great.
So I never went that big before. You know, I've painted murals, but I've never went that big for a painting. And it was scary. And I had this canvas sitting here for a long time. I'm telling you, like, before the pandemic. And, and I just always stared at it. It was wrapped in its cellophane, and I stared at it for years. And then one day I was listening to a podcast last week, and I was like, I don't know, something clicked. I got the mojo, I got the courage. I came up from my walk and I ripped it open, and I was like, that's it.
I'm gonna do it.
My elephant.
Well, I have canvases over here in the corner too, because I want to start painting larger, but I have limited space like you, Allie. So I haven't done it, but my heart is telling me I gotta go larger.
You gotta do it. You gotta just jump in and do it.
It's so intimidating to do it, but I just started doing it recently too, and it's a lot more fun, honestly, to paint bigger. You just have so much more space to express yourself.
It really is. And, like, you're just using your whole body too, you know, and it is a lot of fun.
I love it.
These are the paint pots that I got. So
cool.
you know, I bought the little paint pots.
Yeah.
And then I filled each color up from the palette that it made from the website. And I filled each color up, and then I was able to make, you know, little kit, you know, with the canvas, the paint pots, and the printouts. So
you made the paint pots too.
Yeah, I filled them.
Oh my, Allie!
I know. It was a lot of work. It was, but and I sent everybody like 2 paintbrushes with it, like a detailed one and a little bit bigger paintbrush.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, they got a good deal then.
And that it was a lot of fun. It really was. I mean, I advertised it as a paint party, but it was more like, now after we went through it, it was almost like a paint and chill kind of, you know, like, because we were on Zoom and everybody was chatting, painting, and it was just a lot of fun. I mean, it was a good way to spend time with, you know, other people who want to do this. you
Well,
know?
and I also think it's good for people that haven't been painting or aren't artists because they don't feel intimidated because they can just follow and fill in like coloring.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Because so many people love the adult coloring books and
Right.
the colored pencils because it is a therapeutic process. It feels good to do it and you're creating something. And then I told people too, like a few of the people, I said you could mix your colors, you could blend, like you don't have to stay in the lines, right? Like, and you don't have
Right.
to, you know, be
Right.
exact. And
Yeah.
and then oh, Susan's on. She just wrote. She was in the class with us, and so she said, "Oh, thank you. I did an amazing job on the prep, and it was so much fun." And she felt like she could paint. See, and that's the whole point. Like,
Yay.
that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yay. That's
Because I think
exciting.
everybody could paint, and it just gives you that little bit of a push to do it. And then I got a few of the paintings back with pictures, and some of the people did, you know, like change it up and did their own thing. It was a duck, and so they, you know, they used, you know, blended colors, and so it didn't look like the paint by numbers. It looked like the painting, and
Oh,
it
I
was
bet
really
you.
beautiful.
I
Yeah.
bet you. And did you post about that? Because I'm sure that would have been awesome to see all those different ducks.
Yeah, I have to get more pictures. Actually, Renee just it jumped on and she just sent me hers, and it came out so beautiful. So yeah, I have to go back to the participants and see if they'll send me all their pictures so I could do like a reel with everybody's picture.
Oh,
And yeah, so it was a lot of fun.
I
And
love
There's a
next time I'm gonna do
question.
another one the end of the month.
There's a
That's awesome.
question. Let me go back down. It said, Allie, did you get the idea from at Big Island Big Soul trip painting by numbers as it worked out so well?
Oh, thank you. That's Carol. She's in the UK, and she's referring to we had a retreat in Hawaii this past summer.
I saw
And
those pictures.
yeah, so that was amazing too. I mean, that's another incredible thing, like just how things come about. I mean, that came about because I did a fundraiser for Big Island Farm Sanctuary, and it's a farm sanctuary on the Big Island in Hawaii. And we were just joking on the live when we did the fundraiser, and she said, "Oh, Allie, you got to come here and paint." And I went, "I'll come to Hawaii and paint," like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
She was like, and then it snowballed, and somebody else on the live said we should have a retreat, and people started going, I'd go, and we were like, all right, we could do like a farm sanctuary volunteer type thing with art and yoga, and we coordinated the retreat, and it happened. And we were like, I cannot believe this happened. But
And
during the retreat, I did a workshop there, but that wasn't paint by numbers, but it was very similar. I did an outline of sea turtles for everyone, and then everybody just painted it their own way, and everybody's came out beautiful.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, I call Carol my agent. She's always promoting. She's a good promoter. She's the best.
And
You
guys
in
are-
Hawaii with us.
are you doing
so
another?
awesome.
Are you doing another Hawaiian retreat too? I think, right? Or no?
We had planned it, but it's getting a little postponed, you know, like because they were going to plan it for March, but it seems it's a little too soon, you know, because people need a good year or so to plan for it, you know, to even make the payments for it too, you know. Like,
Oh, yeah.
But I'd like to do others at other sanctuaries too, because that's another thing I like to do is to go to a sanctuary and paint. So there's one not far from me in upstate New York. And I painted a little like piggy shed, like a she shed.
I saw
Yeah.
that turned out. It
That's
turned
so
out
fun.
so cute.
Did.
Oh,
It did.
it's really fun.
I was
Yeah,
just,
so if you guys are thinking about going live and painting, just try it. Like really, because the first few times I did it, I was so nervous, and I was more nervous that I was going to be boring, you know, because you're painting and, you know, and I'm like, there was quiet moments, and I'm like, oh man, this is boring, you know, like, I don't know if it's too boring for people, but I think everybody just wants to see and just feel like they're hanging out with you and just watch your process, and, you know, and then you would inspire other people to do it too.
I've done that, Allie, where I've just watched somebody paint just to kind of see how they paint.
Right.
Oh, me too.
And then later go back and rewatch if I did want to do it with them. But I love the idea of doing it. So you're definitely an inspiration.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it feels scary because I also do some like window painting on, you know, at the holiday time. And like, so one of the first few times that I did that, I was like, oh man, because, you know, I live in a busy area. So there's always pedestrian traffic. And, you know, so I was so nervous. I was like, oh, people are going to be like, what is she doing? Like, what is that? You know, like, you know, in the beginning,
Right.
just like, how is that going to, and then a few people would even comment, you know, because now I do it at the same place for a long time. And they'd comment and stop and be like, you know, oh, I passed by in the morning. And I'm like, what is that going to be? You know, and now, wow, you know, like, so it's funny, like in the afternoon, like they come back and they're like, oh, wow, you know, like it turned into something.
Do you have like cards when you're doing the window paintings? Do you have cards that you give to people? So they can check you out?
Yeah. You know, on the days that I am organized, I try to. The other days,
Wait, what? You're not organized every single day?
We're getting lots of good comments.
I know I can't keep up. The messy middle is, I love to see, yeah, the messy middle evolve. Yeah, right?
Yes.
And then C's Milik, I'm butchering the names.
Oh, Casmic, that's Carol. Yeah.
Yeah. And if a few are on live, it's great to save and post after for others to see the live paintings. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because I've learned so much just watching other artists. I really have. I've learned so much.
100%.
You know, even if you pick up a technique here or there. Even, you know, today I saw another artist. She did a packaging video. And she used, she said pipe insulation from Home Depot. So it was like a black foam, you know, looked like a pipe, but it was black foam with the perforation in the middle. And she cut them to do the corners of her paintings before she
Brilliant. So that they're safe in the, yes, I've learned, yes, that's because it's nerve-wracking to ship a painting.
Yes.
And, you know, pray that the shipping company people are going to be kind to it and get it there in one piece. So that's brilliant. I'm writing. I've got notes. I'm writing that one down too.
Me too. They say corners.
I'm like such a firm believer of sharing anything that I know and anything I learn, because I'm always tapping into like everything, whatever I could figure out. And I'm so grateful for the people who share, right?
Do you remember which artist that was, Allie, that shared that? Because the corners are the biggest problem when you're shipping.
Yeah.
I will share her reel.
Okay,
perfect.
Okay. I'll share her reel.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
no,
amazing.
that's the biggest thing. And we talked about this, I think, on a different live. I think they're all going to start to meld together eventually because it's all connected, right? But the fact that the artist community is so amazing and that we do have this platform now of social media where everyone can share their process and their thoughts and all of them. And that's how I've been able to learn how to paint and to be an artist, because before this, I never took anything in school. In alto, I was in girls ensembles and things like that. Like I never took any art at all because I was like, I'm not an artist. I just assumed that I wasn't an artist or that I had no artistic capability. So I have spent numerous over the last 2 years nights as my husband's snoring next to me. I'm on Instagram and YouTube watching people paint and just you know, and the layers that you talked about earlier, or somebody wrote on here that they love to watch artists process to see how they do the layers.
Yeah.
I never knew that there were layers like that and that's how you got it. And it's such a gracious community, and I'm forever grateful to all of the artists that put their stuff out and let us, you know, peek into behind the curtain of what they do to learn.
Me too.
Right? Like, don't you always think, like, I know even when I was painting, you know, but before social media, I would think like I have to be doing something wrong because like they must get it right, like on the first try. You know, when you see other art. And now you know that's not the case. It is layers, and it's like
Totally.
you have to figure things out. And it's like when that opened up a whole world to me. Even when I watched Kim, like when I first started watching her, I always did animals and stuff, and I would struggle with proportion, and that would take up so much of my time that I would just want to like hate the painting after a while. You know what I mean? You couldn't get to it because the proportion was wrong. And then I started watching her, and she uses a grid, and she marks off her grid. And I was like, and then she uses a grid app, and it's called #grid. The app.
I gotta write that down. #grid.
Yeah, writing it down.
Green. Yeah, search it, and it's and I remember thinking like, oh my gosh. And then someone asked her about the grid, and she said, no, I don't feel like that's cheating at all. She's like, because I mean, now I enjoy painting because I could get my proportions just right, and I don't have to spend all my time on that. And I was like, that was a momentous moment for me. I mean, like, it was huge because from that, now I'm like, oh, wow, I can do that, you know? And then now it's so much faster for me to get the eyes correct and, you know, everything.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, because you're doing a more whimsical, but still a more realistic shape of the animal, right? So for me, I'm doing flowers. I really don't have to worry about any of that because mine are wonky to begin with, right? I'm not doing eyeballs that need to be, you know.
Right. Like I can't have one over here and the other one.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, and you know, shame on anybody who makes anyone else feel like whatever their process is wrong, because everybody has to get there however they get there, and it's a beautiful process no matter what. And I think I was so afraid coming into this of not having any experience that I was going to be so, you know, ostracized or looked down on because the only thing I knew about art were art critics, and they can be very mean and snarky, right? But the people in the art world, the artists that are talking or, you know, communicating and building these communities, they're not putting other people down for their process. They're learning from the process, right?
Yeah.
I'm so glad for that.
I will say this, that when I was going to school too, the one thing that one of my instructors said was that there's always going to be artists who are better than you. There's always going to be artists who aren't as good as you, but you will find the people that love what you do particularly.
Yes.
So if somebody is teaching, like if we learn techniques from other artists, no matter what, we're still going to put our own spin on it, just automatically, just inherently, because we're not going to have the same arm movements. We're different people. It's going to come out. So it doesn't hurt to share that stuff with people because no one's going to be able to do exactly how you do it. So it's great to share. And then I wanted to show you, I did this pig painting, Allie.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
okay.
My God.
But
look how cute.
But it's not as cute as yours, but I'll tell you, that nose, the proportion on that friggin' nose, I painted that thing over like 10 times. I'm not kidding. It was awful. So,
Jeanette, I love that. That is beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you.
You needed a grid, Jeanette.
That is beautiful.
Listen, Allie, if you have a sanctuary that needs a pig auction, I will donate this.
That's
to
wonderful.
Any of your people that want
so
to.
100%. That's beautiful. That is so sweet, Jeanette.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Oh,
all right.
awesome.
And then the other thing I learned, and we did learn about the gridding in college, because that's the way you also can blow things up and enlarge things.
Yeah.
With the
really?
Yeah. So if you have a small painting, you grid that out, and then you grid out your big canvas, and you just draw in those little squares where it is on the grid, and you could blow something up to be really big.
So that's how, okay, so I'm in the process of learning how to take my little, you know, like 5x7 oil pastels and then blow them up into like a 60x40 or whatever watercolor, right? And so I was having issues with that of like, how do I get, okay, I got it. See, learned.
Yeah, use the grid. The grid
app.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could put your picture in the grid app and then make it whatever your canvas is, like, you know, you don't have to do every inch, you know.
Right.
You could do every 4 inches or something, you know.
Yes.
And then however many boxes it is on your canvas, you set it up on the grid app and they'll make that many boxes.
That's awesome. I love that idea, that grid app. I'm going to get that.
I mean, there's an app for everything now. This is incredible. I was going to tell you a funny a saying or something that I read one time that said that in the art world, art critics are the ones that talk about art. And if you get a group of art critics together, they talk about art. And if you get a group of artists together, all they talk about is where to find cheap art supplies.
Oh my gosh, that's perfect. That's so us.
Isn't that so true?
Oh my God, I love it. I love it.
I know.
We're not critiquing each other's stuff. We're literally like, where did you get that and how much was it? When is it on sale? Like, yeah. When Michael's had their big like 70% off, like all through Instagram, you're like, everybody don't forget to get all of your supplies. It's on sale.
Totally. The other thing I was going to say too about art critics, there are some, like, I'm always listening to different podcasts too, like the Creative Genius or Learn to Paint podcast. You ever listen to that one?
No, I'm going to write these down.
Yeah, Learn to Paint podcast. And she has a different artist on. She has many of them. So she's been going for years. And they're really great. And then you hear everybody's technique. She asks like really good questions when she interviews the artist. But there's a few on there that, you know, personally, like they're a little discouraging, you know, like when you hear them, because you go like, they're very focused on, you know, technique and your shadow should be cooler or your value. It's all about value and shadow and shade and this and that, like all these technical terms. And sometimes I'm like, oh man, like I don't think I do any of that, and I don't know any, you know, and I don't, and then I have to snap out of it because I have to think like, look, like she went to school for all these years. This is what she's teaching. And the people who want to learn that or do that and paint that way, technically are going to gravitate towards her. And that's not me. And it's not my community. And then I snap out of it.
Yep. So just like you're going to find the people that love that whimsy that you put into your paintings. And it doesn't matter what color tone the shadow is.
Right.
Yeah.
If it's correct or if it's cool or warm or, you know, and.
But also for landscaping, like I was watching somebody that was like a realistic landscape painter, which I don't do. I try to do more impressionistic, but he had in the sky, you have the cooler tones in the sky. And then, you know, how when you set mountains back, you also add blue because the atmosphere adds the blue cast. But it's a warmer blue versus the sky that's a cooler blue. So something like that, even if I'm doing it more abstractly, I still thought, I didn't know about that. Yeah. So it made
I did not either.
Yeah. It was interesting. So I heard
one of them say, like, you know, like with the song too, like Purple Mountain's Majesty, because as you get further higher, it gets purpley, the blue gets purpley, you know, and that's where it comes from. Yeah.
I'm thankful to all us artists out there.
Totally. 100%.
Even beginners like me. Well, I still feel like I'm a beginner, Terry, even though you say you're a beginner. I think
we all feel like beginners all the time, really.
But that's encouraging. That's so encouraging.
Yeah, I totally feel like a beginner all the time. And you know, and that's the whole thing too, like that other saying, like comparison is the thief of joy. Like we have to stop comparing, because you have to do what makes your heart sing, and you have to get out what you have inside you, because everybody has something to create. And whether or not they feel like they can make art, whether they're cooking or decorating their home or just getting dressed, right? Like whatever you're doing, you're creating something. And everybody, like I always say too, like everybody's handwriting is different. Like we could all write the same sentence and everybody's will look different. And that's the same thing. It's with art, you know, everybody's is going to be different, and you're creating something. Like the best feeling, no matter what you think during the whole process, is looking back and going, wow, that canvas was just white yesterday, and now look at it, right? Like it has a story on it.
You're
That's
creating.
why I love the name of your episodes. It's perfect.
Yeah, we like our name.
I love it. If this canvas could talk, because seriously, like if it could, it would have every emotion that you went through, right? You know,
Yes.
like that
Yes.
canvas. But yet it started out just a blank white canvas and it said, do something with me. That's what I'm here for, right?
Right.
Yes.
Creating.
Which brings us totally full circle back to your art workshop, you know, your art Zooms and workshops and lives, all the things that we talked about is giving people the opportunity to create that maybe otherwise are telling themselves that they can't.
Right. Right. And
And
you
you,
know what? Just get through the fear of it too. Like if you're telling yourself you can't, just try it. Like, cause even me, you know, putting myself out there to put the workshops together or putting a live out there, you know, I'm feeling the fear, you know, believe me, I'm feeling the fear. You know, this is every step and every process that you go through is kind of new. And even if you're doing it, you know, 10 times or 20 times, you're still feeling the fear. And the whole thing is just do it anyway, because you might make somebody smile, you know, because of it. Right.
well,
Like,
your aura and your personality, Allie, makes everybody super comfortable.
Mhm.
You have that way about you. I think that makes it easy for people to not be afraid.
thank
So
you.
I love
That's
that.
so sweet. Oh,
It's true.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love
And
that too. Thank
fear,
you so much. That's so great.
fear actually is excitement. Like think about the two
Yeah.
feelings, right? They're exactly the same. It's how you look at how you're feeling.
Oh, I like
So when you're afraid and then you do it, aren't you excited? Because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it. It's like you're conquering that. So I say that we all just like conquer a fear this week as we go out. So
that.
Allie,
Challenge.
what are you
Our
working
challenge.
on? What's coming up for you? What's in the future?
So I am going to do another workshop and oh, I have something big coming up. I do have something big. I
Okay.
have so upstate New York, you know, they had Woodstock,
Yeah.
Yeah.
52 years ago. So for the 50th anniversary, I think it was in 2019, they started to do they call it the Catskills because it's in the Catskill Mountain area, and they call it the Catskills Dove Walk. Sorry, my accent. But it's these big dove statues that are like 4 or 6 feet.
Wow.
And yeah, they're pretty big. And they go outside. And so it's called the Dove Trail. And people go and visit different doves. They have to be in a public space. And you could go visit like different doves. It's on their website. And you could take pictures with them. And they have a map with all the doves. And one of the animal sanctuaries that I painted the little she shed,
Yeah.
the piggy shed. He is getting a dove, and he asked me to paint it.
Allie.
I know,
Oh
so it's
my gosh.
super exciting. I'm so excited. So the requirements are it has to be like in the Woodstock 60s colors. So you have
Okay.
a color
Okay.
palette that you have to use, and it has to be in that style. So I did a whole sketch, like a drawing in color, and it had to be submitted to their committee to get approved. And so it got approved, and now we're just waiting to get the dove, and then I'm gonna go paint it.
Oh my gosh, Allie, that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so exciting, really, and because then it'll go on to the Catskills Dove Trail website. Like, my dove will be there, right?
Oh
like
my God. On the map. And how long do those doves stay up for?
They stay up indefinitely. Like it's
Oh,
just an
wow.
indefinite thing. Yeah, they started it 2 years ago, and they want to have multiple ones. So it's something like to get people aware of the Catskill Mountain area and to go check out some of the different doves. Like on hikes or trails, or go visit different places.
Oh
So
my
it's
God,
a
that's
nice way to
huge.
get people to go visit the animal sanctuary.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my
Oh, so it
gosh.
will actually be at the
Yeah,
sanctuary.
right outside of so you don't have to go into it, because it has to be in a public space.
Sure,
People can
sure.
get out of their car and take a picture, But
I gotcha.
I think it would encourage people too. Maybe we'll take a tour,
Yes.
learn about it.
That is cool. Oh
I
my
know.
gosh.
And the side
Incredible.
note thing that I've been doing is, this is very silly, but something on my bucket list was because I live in New York City, right? So I'm in Queens, and I've always wanted to do a background acting job, like, or a commercial or something. So I signed up with this agency like last in the winter.
Yeah.
And I got a few roles, and 2 of them were in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
No. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my gosh,
I
Allie.
went and I was like a background actor, you know, like, so it was just funny. Like, yeah, like they tell you what to do. Like one of them, I was a tourist, like right outside of Radio City and NBC, and I had to like walk up the sidewalk and like look like, oh, you know, like with my scene partner, like, oh, we've never been here before, you know.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Okay, so will you know when they air and stuff?
Yeah, so it's gonna be it's the last season, the final season of Miss Maisel, and it starts. I think it comes out February 23rd. So I don't know what episode it is yet, but as soon as I know, like in February, you know, not February 23rd, February 2023. So I don't know.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So I'm sure you'll be posting like that day and leading up to it. Like my episode is coming. Look for me doing this.
Yeah, I know. And it's so funny because like you don't know if you're actually they did so many takes. I mean, kudos to actors. I mean, seriously, they must have did the same scene, the same lines 70 times.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Because they do different angles with the cameras, so it's like they just constantly do it over and over again. And but so you don't know if you're gonna actually even be seen or not, but it's so exciting to be there. And then you talk to the other people, and they like a lot of people do it regularly, and I'm like, oh, were you on before? Like that's everybody's question. Did you do this before? Were you on an episode before? And like some of the people are like, yeah, you could see me in season 2. You see me for like 2 seconds, you know? and everybody's so excited about that. Like, really? Like, oh my God, you're in it for 2 seconds, you know? Like, that's fun.
Yes.
What a great thing. What a great
that's
thing.
exciting. That's
It's
awesome.
fun. Yeah.
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's fun.
And then you said you were going to do another workshop. When is that?
Yeah, so I'm scheduling it for the last weekend of September. So,
Okay, coming up.
It's gonna be yeah. So I have to get the registration up this week. So I'm working on the painting. It's gonna be a little pig with a pumpkin. So just for the fall season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll.
And how
my
much?
fearlessness, Amory. Yeah, you're funny.
Oh.
You're fearless. Amory is a badass. She is a badass. And she's always been an artist, but again, she's one of those women who were always saying, you know, oh, I'm not an artist, but she's fabulous. So she's wonderful.
That's
And
great.
she's so talented. Yeah. And she started putting her artwork out there now, which is awesome. And I'm so proud of her. Yeah.
See, and you're her inspiration there, Allie. Are you charging for that little pig in the pumpkin? Like, what's the cost? What's the fee?
Yeah, so it's $85 to register.
Okay. Perfect.
And you get the whole kit, and then whatever animal I'm painting, you know, whatever sanctuary, I donate $10 of that to the sanctuary.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so last time I was able to donate $100 to the sanctuary with the duck.
Wow.
Cool.
So
Okay.
Is that going to be like the paint by numbers? Are you filling the pots again?
Yeah.
So have you,
Okay.
I'm a glutton for punishment.
have you figured out a way to make it easier?
From doing the Zoom class, I realized so I had 3 sets of paint pots, and I'm going to narrow it down to 2, which would be less to fill in, a bigger area to fill in.
Yep.
And so.
One question, is that oil? Are you painting with
No,
oil?
it's acrylics. This is acrylics.
Acrylics. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you do most of your painting is in oil, right?
Most of my painting, yes, is in oil. But for this, I figured acrylics would be
easier.
Yeah. And then so I was worried too about the paints drying and, and the oil paints, like shipping the oil paints.
Yeah.
Even with these, like I filled them up almost all the way, but you hardly used any of the paint,
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. So, $85 people can register, and that'll be fun for fall with Miss Allie. Oh my gosh. You got so much good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I know. Thank you so much for coming on. And
thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun to talk to you.
Totally.
it feels like it went by and like so fast. Like there's so many more things I want to talk to you about. Maybe we'll have to have you back
Well,
on.
absolutely, I'm down.
Hey, yeah, if you ever want to, just let me know.
Okay.
I love watching you both you do it every other week, correct?
Yep.
Right. Yeah. For now.
So if
Yeah.
anybody doesn't follow, you guys should go follow both Jeanette and Terry. And every other week they do it live, and they have you had Jess Hughes on, I saw too, which
Yes.
is a great guest, and she's a great mentor also. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how Terry and I met, is in her media
Oh, okay.
accelerator course.
Oh,
Yes.
that's great.
Yes.
I
Super
I
awesome.
took the week, the week of the, leading up to the course.
Yes.
Yes.
The week. And I swear, I was like, that week, I felt like I was on fire. I was like, I really felt like everything was going right. There was so much good energy. She brings so much good energy, right?
Yes.
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 You could tell that you guys met there, and it's like, because you guys have really good energy together too. And
Oh, well,
Thank
good. We're gonna start cross-referencing, because you and I met in Jody King, and Terry follows Jody King, and then there's
Love her.
another mentor that I follow that we're just
she's
gonna.
a badass too, and
Yes.
she taught me
Yes.
so much too. Really,
For sure. Like she just gives you permission to own your total own. Both of them actually give you permission to own your badassness, right? And that we don't have to play ourselves down because we're female, because we're artists, because we're like we own our power, and they're leading by example. It's awesome.
Yeah. It gives you that courage, right? It gives you that confidence and that courage, because sometimes I think like, why aren't I doing this, or why aren't I doing that? And it's like, and then I shy back from doing something, and then I'm like, no, I have to do it. Like I have to just break out and do it. So it's like we're always playing with that in our minds, but by having these people around us, and watching them, it gives us that motivation, that courage and confidence.
It shows you where you can go.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. Right.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Oh,
and then as you go, like they're going and they're leaving breadcrumbs for us, and as we go, we leave breadcrumbs for those that are coming up behind us too, and it's just a win-win all the way around. It's fabulous.
I love that.
It is. Yeah. It trickles down the whole thing. And if you're just giving something, that's why we see too, like if you're just giving a little bit of yourself or a little bit of positivity, you're adding something, right? You're just adding something, and it's always helpful. And I have so many to thank that helped me, so I love it.
Wow. You are an inspiration, Miss Allie. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was great. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
It went by like a blast. And so
Totally. Well, we will be cheering for you on your social media platforms, and we know you'll be doing the same for us. And so we just look forward to your Dove coming up, and and your workshop, and all of the awesome joy that you're sending out into the world. So we will, I guess, see you out there.
You guys too. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for starting these episodes. It's excellent. I love it. Continue.
Thanks, Allie.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks you guys for watching.
I know. Thank you, everybody that came. Bye. Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.